actually going to start with a video that we showed at the 5-year renewal back in December. And so go ahead and watch that. It'll allow if anyone comes in a little bit late. It's about 4 minutes long, and then we'll get going.
At STEM School Highlands Ranch, we believe in the power of innovation. For more than a decade, countless students have walked through these halls and reached for the stars, a place where they find inspiration, a place where they can create freely and discover their passions. Our teachers bring real-world problems to the classroom so that students can find solutions as part of their assignments. We do that because we know and have seen that STEM students are not average. They are future leaders, they are go-getters. They are the ones the world will turn to for new concepts and global solutions. At STEM, there are no boundaries, only endless possibilities.
I love STEM School Highlands Ranch because the school has taught my kids how to advocate for themselves, and then also I feel like it allows them to be who they are and doesn't put them in a box.
I love STEM because it harvests our passion and allows us to grow. Our teachers encourage us to learn and fail in a safe place. It's a great school where you can work hard while having fun.
I love STEM School of Highlands Ranch because it's different. It's not like every other school, intentionally so. And anybody could come here and thrive. Whatever you're passionate about, there's a place for you at STEM. And that's what's special about it.
STEM has prepared my kids for college. I actually just had one child graduate from STEM, and actually hearing him talk about his experience in a college classroom, just how the peers that he worked with at STEM had such a drive to succeed and just a dedication that when he got to college, he's actually really excited and prepared to just take on these college classes. And I'm so thankful that he was just surrounded by amazing teachers, amazing peers that all are really driven and passionate.
And problem-based learning gives our students an opportunity to be able to solve the problems that they want to solve, to be able to take those challenges and flip the problem in a way that is unique to them and that they can follow their passions, which is a lot different than how it was when I went to school, where you studied a curriculum and you had to perform on the test just by regurgitating out of memory. And it's really cool to see kids take on these challenges and these problems and really make them their own.
The teacher gives you a problem and you have to try and find solutions for it. Sometimes you do it individually, but sometimes you can work on it as a group.
The mission of the Student Support Team at STEM School Highlands Ranch is to provide every student with the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive in an environment that is safe, challenging, and nurturing. We are dedicated to helping the entire student body reach their full potential while feeling empowered, respected, and supported. Our successful push-in model allows for our students to get the services they need while staying among their peers and receiving instruction from some of the best educators around.
Many of the athletic teams at STEM are coached by staff at STEM. Our teams give our students the opportunity to learn teamwork, safe competition, and life-changing skills. As a member of the Colorado High Schools Activities Association, we offer soccer, lacrosse, basketball, golf, volleyball, esports, and more. Our athletic department also includes middle school sports teams, including cross country and basketball.
We're incredibly grateful to be a part of an outstanding district that pushes us to grow and achieve each and every year.
Well, as we start talking about STEM, we wanted to kind of broaden the context a little bit and kind of zoom out to Colorado even. And in Colorado, this article, and there's many like it, that talk about the amount of STEM jobs in Colorado. This one references 23%, and they're expecting by 2030 that number is just going to keep going up and up. The following slide is really about the amount of kids that have access or are in a STEM education in Colorado, and 15% here is the number that are in a STEM school. And you think about our school, We're STEM K through 12, and it's like the foundation of our focus as a school. A lot of schools will have a STEM classroom or a program or a makerspace, and they'll call themselves STEM focused, but we are STEM at the foundation. And so just setting that context that we're really positioned to be a school that's not only helping our kids like thrive in their identity and who they are, but it's setting them up for like a great career path in Colorado, but then in the nation as well. It's working, all right.
Some of our most notable accomplishments over the last year have been we received our 5-year charter renewal in December. For the first time, it was with no stipulations. So we went before Douglas County School Board and we were granted another 5 years. We just received word that we were honored with the John Irwin Award. It's the, I don't know, 9th, 10th time, I guess 8th time, because we didn't have 2019 data, 2020 data because of COVID, but consistently we've received that award. So all grades for CMAS testing have met or exceeded state standards on CMAS. And then some of the other awards that we've received we're the 100th charter school in top 100 charter schools in America, 12th ranked school in Colorado, and #1 charter school in most every county in Douglas County. Just this past weekend, I was scrolling through Facebook and I found an article about the top areas in Colorado to live, and I wanted to check out if my neighborhood was there. And in doing so, I stumbled across the fact that we were listed as the top school in 11 out of 30 communities. So that was a pretty exciting find, and I wasn't seeking out information about our school. It was about my personal neighborhood, but we are noted in Castle Pines, Evergreen, Parker, Highlands Ranch. It just kept going. Every time I pulled up the next neighborhood, I was like, oh, well, STEM's there and STEM's there. So an exciting piece of data to locate. With that being said, it's a testament to where our students come from. So when we look at our heat map and the distances our children are driving to come join us every single day, over there on the right demonstrates all of those locations or shows all those locations. Currently this year, we have just under 1,400 students that we're serving K-12. As I mentioned, we're ranked #1 high school in Douglas County. Sometimes it's #2 depending on who's doing the ranking. We seem to go neck and neck with Rock Canyon, but we have been on some of the postings listed as #1. And we have a 73% AP participation rate here at STEM. We are also one of the most diverse schools in Douglas County, so in comparison to all other schools, we have the most diverse student population, which we are very proud of.
I want to talk a little bit about our leadership. And so in the last 3 years, there has been a lot of leadership change. And so from Mrs. Kovaleski going from elementary principal to being the executive director. And then at the board level, we've had like 3 or 4 a few years ago, kind of was the number, and there's a transition. We're at a full board now, so that's great. We have 9 people. And not only are we at a full board, but we have a lot of different skills represented on the board. To take a minute to represent Carla and Linda, who are here with us today. And so part of what I want to highlight is just the work they've been doing behind the scenes. So last year, they spent hours and hours in meetings working to find a new CIO, Chief Innovation Officer, and then hiring me. But they not only did that, they've worked on all their waivers. I don't know if that's a great, fun process for anyone to go through the waiver policy, but they did that. They've gone and got Board on Track. It's basically a platform that they can track all their documents. They hired a consultant. They've started committees, so there's committee work going on at the board level. So I've worked with several boards over the years, and one reason I took the job was because of the people and the passion they have for the school. And it's actually been one of the most fun parts of my job is working with the board here. And I can't say that about every board that I've worked with over the years. And not many people can, because it can be one of the more challenging parts of school leadership. But we have a great crew. Just wanted to introduce them to you.
Sorry.
And then a shared services team. That's the team that I oversee. And so we have a lot of those people here today. So Star is here with us in the back. She's been a chief financial officer for many years here at STEM. Chris is new, so he comes with some school experience, but 30 years experience in facilities, landscaping, but he's worked at 2 other schools. And then Brian is also new with us, who's in the the back here, and he has 30 years of HR experience. One thing about our HR director, we haven't had that position in the past. And so we have 160 employees. We've had as much as 180 some. So Star and her team have not only done the finance, but they've done the HR work as well. And so it's been a big just lift to us to be able to add that position to the team. You can imagine all the different HR related issues we have with that many employees. So, and then Nicole, she's our communications person, so you can thank her for all the information we get in the newsletters and keeping us going with communications. And then Mike, who's not with us today, is our IT director. This group supports the school, and Lynann's on our team as well. She has her own team that runs the school, so I want to introduce them.
Absolutely. This is our school leadership team. So we have a group of 5 admin, 2 deans. They are unwavering in their dedication to STEM and to our students. Most of us have been here at least 3 years, some of us going on 11 years. And it's been exciting to work side by side with them as we begin to build our processes and areas in which we can continue to support and grow and support our students. So we have Mr. Alsup, our high school director, Ms. Ritter, who's in the back, middle school director, Amy McElroy is our elementary school director, Ms. Michelle Gasser, director of instruction and curriculum, Dr. Justine Harrison is director of student support services. Then we have 2 deans, Samson Barrios, who is our secondary dean, Jessica Manzanares is elementary dean, and then Melanie Fitzroy, who many of you know through our enrichment. So she is here nights, weekends, afternoons, all the time supporting our students and all their extracurriculars.
We're going to talk a little bit about our identity. So the structure is going to be who we are, where we're at, and where we're going. And so this who we are section, I'd love for you, if you have a phone or notes, like what's hitting, like that actually resonates with me, and then this aspect might miss a little bit with me. We are working on our language. So with 10, 12 years of history, with some turnover at leadership and also the teaching level, we want to get really clear on who we are so we can communicate that really well to the community. So let's go through it. So our mission is to never stop innovating. And then we envision a world of exponential possibilities where every child develops an innate knowledge, skills, creativity, character to thrive, lead, and succeed in an ever-changing future. We're working with this tagline, and mainly because as we've been talking to students, what do you love about STEM and what's special about STEM? This unleashed potential comes up over and over again. And so in addition to that, the school is open to and has set up schedules and pathways that are kind of redefining limits of school. And what does it mean to learn, to keep learning, to not stop learning? And so STEM School Highlands Ranch is a premier K-12 STEM school in the Mountain West, dedicated to cultivating future STEM leaders who do good in the world. We ignite a passion for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics through hands-on collaborative learning that empowers students to become critical thinkers and innovative problem solvers. I want to point out the do good word. I know it doesn't maybe follow grammar or it feels maybe elementary. But when you think of K through 12, we really are looking at kindergartners all the way through 12th grade. And a lot of people use positive impact or words like that, and we were thinking, do good, you actually have to do something. It's you're getting up out of your seat and you're taking action. Positive impact, I could hold a door open for you, or I could smile, and that makes a positive impact. But really, this idea through innovation, we're doing good in the world, and having that be a big motivator for our students and for our faculty. So
who are our students, our most important people here on campus? So our STEM school students combine academic excellence with curiosity, playful imagination, and an appetite for solving real-world challenges. We are lighthearted and quirky, inventive and artistic, obsessed with solving problems and welcoming to all students, regardless of who they are or where they come from. So oftentimes we hear our students being spoken about being innovators, they're curious, they're inventive, they're change makers, they're includers and collaborators.
So our value proposition, as far as what we bring and to the community and to the students, is problem-based learning, real-world applications, these custom pathways, and character development. So let's go through these 4. With problem-based learning, we thrive in a culture of learning by doing. Our curriculum goes beyond textbooks, encouraging students to be inventive and apply their knowledge to solve real-world problems. STEM students build robots, they design sustainable communities, and conduct scientific experiments, all while learning from one another in a collaborative environment.
Through that, we are global change makers that foster a love of learning and a desire to make a positive impact on the world. Through the extracurricular activities, project showcases, guest speaker sessions, and potential internship opportunities, students can explore their interests, connect with the broader STEM community, and get a glimpse of what the future holds.
In our custom pathways, we celebrate diversity. We ignite a love for learning in every student. Our adaptable and personalized pathways let students explore their unique strengths and chase their goals at their own speed.
And we also believe in strong character development. We believe in a strong foundation of character in our students. Starting in kindergarten, our curriculum is designed to develop skills like collaboration, communication, resilience, and leadership. These skills, alongside academics, prepare students to thrive in college careers and life as responsible citizens.
So in our program model, we are foundationally problem-based. And what that means is in our units, the kids have an overarching problem that they're solving. So it's different than project-based, where they're completing a project that the teacher gives them. Hey, here's the outline for the project, go and do it. They follow the instructions, the project gets done. In problem-based learning, there may be a project involved, but the kids have more voice, choice, in how they're actually solving that problem. And so we don't know where it's maybe going to end up all the time. And then the kids collaborate and learn from each other about how they solve that problem as the coach is guiding them through, the teacher's guiding them through.
I would definitely say that's what excites our students. So in a classical classroom, it's more about learning the foundational skills and demonstrating that you have them. So the problem-based learning approach excites them because they actually see right in the moment how that skill applies to solving the real-world problems. We also believe in being student-centered. So we seek to have all of our students at or above the grade level with their foundational skills. So the reading, writing, math, and critical thinking. We don't hold students back. When they demonstrate that they have those standards, we let them go on to the next level. So that's why we have so many students that are accelerated in those core areas. We know each student. We work with each student and their individual needs based on strengths and needs of support. And then the result of all of that is that our students are able to thrive, lead, and succeed.
Go ahead.
We believe in supporting the student with all of their needs, and these are the important people here on our campus that support our students. So we have teachers, coaches, and mentors. We have an access period for our secondary students. Twice a week, they're able to get extra support, either from a teacher, from one of our support staff members. They're able to reteach or get retaught certain standards if they need it, or accelerate in certain classes. We have school counselors and school deans, an English language development program, special education department, gifted and talented program, and college and career advising, all here at STEM.
In our pathway structure, there's different pathways for student. One would definitely be if they're excelling, and so what's that pathway? But we also, with problem-based learning, if I'm behind in my fundamental skills or learning is a challenge, there's a pathway for that too, because kids can connect to the problem-based learning model. I actually have 3 kids, they're all different, but one of them would, just based on who she is, she struggles with reading, writing, some of the fundamental skills, but her artistic value, her leadership value is off the charts. And so when you think about how she could fit in a program like this, she can thrive with her peers because she's bringing her strengths while she's still working on her weaknesses. Also, we have pathways to college and career. And so when you look at our college opportunities, you can get college credit through AP classes, but you can also get them through our dual credit classes that we provide. I met a student the other day who had 66 college credits before he left STEM. There's other kids that have an associate's degree before they leave STEM as well, because we connect with ACC The career opportunities are options too. There's more and more parents here, even in Douglas County, that are questioning the value of a college education with the price that it's coming in at, and then what their kids are coming out with. And so there is options to go to our P-Tech program and actually come out ready to go into the workforce. So some of our P-Tech pathways are game design, mechatronics, computer science. And then we offer internships for students as well, connecting to industry partners through our Discovery program and our Ascent program.
This is a quote that our students recently shared, one of our students recently shared with us. My education at STEM has been such a fantastic and worthwhile experience. With STEM's wide variety of classes, flexible learning curriculum, and access to diverse resources, I've learned more in 2.5 years of high school than most students do in 4. Between AP and CE classes, STEM has allowed me to accumulate more than 2 years worth of college credit in only 3 years. The fact is absolutely insane to me. No other high school in all of Colorado offers the opportunity for college preparation like STEM does. STEM challenges its students. It encourages them to diverge and explore topics that they are passionate about, both in and outside the classroom. Through STEM's unique learning model, I've been pushed outside of my boundaries and encouraged to explore paths that I never would have considered otherwise. I have STEM to thank for my readiness for college.
So some of our distinctives, when you think about STEM, is rigorous academics, but also personalized learning, this problem-based curriculum, what I would call STEM plus. Some people call it STEAM or the A-team, but it's basically putting arts into STEAM. But for us, it's more than just arts. It's sports, it's our extracurricular programs, our clubs, our trips, our whole student-minded approach, and then college and career advising and early college opportunities. You could add diversity in there as well as another distinctive. So our story, we're going to actually, I'm a history major, and so when you're thinking about the future, it's always good to know where you're coming from and what you're grounded in. And so we're going to walk through the STEM story, and then we're going to move into our current state and then our future state. So here's a bit of a timeline. So we were founded in 2011. There was a kind of a name organizational change that happened here in 2017-18. Then we've had this resiliency period and then this revitalization period that we're moving into. It started as STEM School Academy, so an after-school program that was having success, and let's start at school. And so a high school was started in 2011 with 480 students. This building here, which is just that way past the gym, that was a magazine, like basically a printing area. They housed a lot of different resources for the magazine. And our students moved into that in 2011. And then this was mainly empty. In 2014, we opened the high school, and then 2016, an elementary school was opened. But if you think of going from 480 students to 1,850 from 2011 to 2018, that's a pretty fast clip year over year. And you think about growth and innovation and kind of the inspiration that's been a part of this place from the beginning. In 2018, that was kind of, think of it as the pinnacle year. Right? It's the most students we had. If you look at CDE's rating of us, we were at 90% that year. We've been in like 86 to 83 since. But that's just in the story, that's kind of the pinnacle year. In 2017-18, there was a name change. So there was considering even changing the name to Kozan. And the reason for that is the school's been really committed and attached to this idea that our program model, our way of teaching is special and it's unique, and we want to really highlight that. And so Kozan was going to be like the teaching pedagogy. What is Kozan? It's a way of teaching, and here it is. We'll describe it to you. When it started to roll out, it didn't connect with the students and it didn't connect with the community. So we've maintained Kozan as the parent company of STEM. So we're doing business as STEM under the parent company of Kozan. And where we're moving into is really this structure where Kozan is the educational management company for STEM. And then I'm the one employee of Kozan, so I was hired to grow the brand of Kozan in STEM and to refine our current campus, our flagship campus here. So my path this year has been to learn, to observe this last year, and then to make growth path, which you'll learn about for our school here at STEM, and then maybe other areas that we might consider. So Kozan is the shared services, we support STEM Highlands Ranch. We want our family, though, to just see STEM School Highlands Ranch. That's, as I've come in, it's been confusing to the district, confusing to parents, confusing to other people. So we want to really kind of get rid of some of that confusion and just kind of let it go to the behind the scenes. And we're really going to promote STEM School Highlands Ranch. We don't want to forget about our school shooting on May 7th, 2019. I know it's hard to remember, but it is part of our story. And so we want to lean into that as being our why. We're not going to forget, and it's going to keep motivating us for what we do and why we do it. When we look at our why, every single student, like, they deserve like that, to be seen, to be known for who they are, no matter what, period. That's why we do it, to know students. Every eye contact, every smile, every connection is important. And then when we come, it's like no matter if it's blowing like 50 degrees like it was last Saturday, or if it's snowing 2 feet, every day is important. And we take it and we cherish it. Our interactions, it's a lot more than just assignments and transactions. It's these connections that we're making. And then each experience, even those interruptions, are actually important. And because of what happened on May 7th, it reminds us of that, and it keeps us going. Our colleagues, we want to support each other and hold each other up as far as a team. You know, leaning into this has been something that for the first few years was kind of ignored here at the school from when I'm learning the history. With Mrs. Kovaleski and her team in the last 2 years, there's been more work to just make it okay to bring it to the surface. And when we think about, let's go to the next slide. When we think about trauma, everyone handles trauma in a different way. And so I'll talk about that in just a second. But when we talk about why it's important, this place, we want it to be a safe place for kids. When they come to school, they feel known and loved. We have these smiles they get to run into every day. And I went through the staff list, and it's like, and I'm getting to know the teachers. We have a great staff who really care for the students. And you know, some kids, if they're in 12th grade, they've been seeing that same smile since 2nd grade. I have a parent over here whose kids have been here since kindergarten. They're in 7th grade now. That consistency of teachers, that consistency of environment. And then this slide I love because we have a student running. We've got some applauses going over here on the left. Looks like he's finishing, and his focus is on his coach. And you can see he's proud. He's proud of what he did. And there's a connection there. And it's those connections that STEM is about, in addition to the STEM education that we're providing. Some things to remember. 5 years commemoration is coming up this year. And so from what I've learned from people, 1, 3, 5, 10, and 20 can be years that are a bit harder. Triggers can come out of nowhere. And I've seen them as a leader of the school with parents, students, just going through a normal day, and then it'll hit us in different ways. It does impact us all differently. So we can go through the same event, me and Carla, but it could impact me like 10 times more than Carla because we're different people, right? And so we can't judge each other's journey, but we can be open to that journey for one another. Do, as parents, check in with yourself and with your kids. I wasn't here. A lot of our faculty wasn't here, but I still get impacted and affected at times. I also have no idea what the people who are here are going through, and I can't pretend to. But I do want to check in with them still. I don't want to just kind of like ignore it and see how people are doing. Ask your student, and just know you're foundational, not only to this journey of healing, but any journey of healing. As parents think about, we're not perfect, right? And so it's those like, hey, I made a mistake here, or I'm trying to grow here, and just modeling that sense of like growth and healing. Kids, when they have that, they can open up to their own journey as well. So follow those questions, feelings, and emotions. We have a few dates to let you know about. Our kids will be having an assembly on April 25th, where the different levels will meet. We are celebrating our therapy dog, who's turning 9, I believe, with like hundreds or thousands of tennis balls falling from the gym ceiling. I don't know what the dog's going to do, but basically it's a metaphor or a picture, something we can point to say therapy has been important. Daisy's been important to us, but we still have some things to heal from, to not forget. And so we'll talk about STEM Shares Week, where kids on May 7th, they have the day off. They can go and do good in our community. We have a list on the website of some ideas if you want to do that with your kids. On the 7th at Civic Green Park from 1 to 4, the Center for Strength is hosting an event there. We're sponsoring it, and we'd love to have people come out and just support Kendrick Castillo, the memory of what happened, and just the bond that our community had. When you go through hard things, you grow. And I brought a little metaphor. Would you mind grabbing my hat for me over there? So in our family, we've adopted the buffalo as kind of our family animal at my house. But the reason why is I've learned that buffaloes actually, when the storm comes, they face it and they walk towards it so they can get through it quicker. And as I've been in Colorado, you know what some of my favorite days are in Colorado? The day right after a storm, because it is so beautiful here. Like the snow, the glistening blue skies, the wind has stopped. I just want to give that as a picture of like who this community is. When I've met people here, like it's people who've showed up every day, and I'm going to show some other challenges we've walked through, but it's people of character, resiliency, and we are walking as a school kind of through that storm. We're going to look at it straight on, and we do care about what happened, and we're leaning into it. So there are some additional challenges I've learned that the school's gone through since 2019. So while that was happening, there was also some leadership conflict that was going on. Our charter renewal in 2019 was happening, and there were some challenges with that as well. And you think about COVID, that happened a year after, and when you're healing from something and recovering, a year mark is always like really hard, you know, the first time you go through something again. Well, we weren't even here. You know, it was like everybody was home alone. And so there was that addition. And then what's cool about our school is we're pretty moderate, meaning we do have people on the left and the right, and put that together, and it's a good mix of like allowing the kids to solve problems and to think critically for themselves. But you take an issue like COVID, our teachers were pretty like torn on how to handle it. Should we be here? Should we not be here? Should we be masked, not masked? So it was hard on the teachers during COVID because of that polarity. You think of some schools, they were all to the right or all to the left, and it was kind of easier for them to navigate. Not for us. It was a challenge, but a good challenge because of our identity as being a moderate school. And then standards-based grading is a grading system that is used around the country. I think, you know, you look at accreditation, we'll talk more about this a little bit later, but the confusion around how it was executed and why it was executed and how fast it was executed, it was really hard on the community. When you think about us being a college preparatory school, and now we're changing the grading system. So with all of that, there became dissatisfaction with some teachers, parents, and we've seen people leaving over the last 5 years. So we were at 1850, now we're at 1400. So that's a 5% on average decrease in enrollment year over year. But like I said, we've weathered the storm, and now we're moving into this age of revitalization and growth, which I want to share with you now. It's kind of what's the future look like of STEM? Where are we actually heading? So keep going. Thank you.
So where we are this year, we've done a lot of work since Matt joined our team. Every single year, since I've been here the last 5 years, we do our best to try to collect data from our students, parents, and staff twice a year. We're going to hear a lot of noise right now. So twice a year we do send out surveys. In fact, we will be sending out a parent survey here in the next 2 weeks through our SAC committee. So please help give us that feedback, because we look at it and try to make our choices and decisions for future planning from your feedback. We also created a partnership with the Bellwether consulting firm. So Bellwether came to us, or we were able to create that partnership through the Colorado League of Charters. We were selected, out of 30 other schools that submitted for this opportunity. So we've been working with them the last year. The Bellwether team came in, and they actually met with several focus groups. So they met with our students, they met with staff, they met with parents, they met with some of our board members to collect data from them. They conducted a site visit. They were on site with us for a day. They analyzed our school data and artifacts to give us feedback on where we are now and areas in which we can grow and improve. And we continue to work with them through the remainder of the school year. School leadership conducted a SWOT analysis and created operational plans. So we asked all of our admin team and shared leadership team to develop plans and where they want to grow. And then we constantly are provided feedback by our SAC committee, our School Accountability Committee, and our school board. It's a little bit just about our bellwether consulting firm. So to cap a year in the review, we have about 5 weeks, 6 weeks left in the school year, but we did receive our 5-year renewal. We have an improved teacher retention rate, so that is looking positive right now. All teacher contracts, our working agreements were handed out. We have a couple not returning, moving out of state or staying home with family. We began implementing new strategic planning and a budgeting process. So having our teachers think about what their next year looks like and dreaming big. They submitted that to their admin, their building directors, who then submitted it to myself, and we created an overall budget. So that's something new that we have not done in the past. We rolled out our Evolve weapon detection technology. So we have that set up at all 3 entrances. It stays open at the middle school and or at the secondary entrance and our elementary school entrance through the day, and athletic just in the morning when our students come in. Our shared service team is fully developed. Our admin team returns for a 3rd year in a row as a consistent group of administrators. Increased execution on facility improvements and human resources priorities. So with the addition of Chris Demore as our new facilities director, and we were able to hire a facilities assistant. We had that build on with our gym, that continual attention to our building. You can see it throughout our campus with hallways being painted, just a cleaner, safer environment for all of our students. Increased our improved relationship with our neighbors, district and charter league. When Matt joined us, he was knocking door to door, just trying to build those relationships and making a partnership with some of our business partners here and our neighbors, our HOA, and the community across the street. Support and evaluation process was established for all of school leaders. So all of our leaders now are evaluated annually. And then our future priorities are in our people, our programs, facilities, future growth, and our investments. Some of the strengths that came from gathering all of that feedback, whether it was through Bellwether, through internal survey data, speaking with our community, we know that we have positive relationships, non-academic skill development, student achievement, great program model with our PBL learning model, great meeting structure built around our leadership teams, community partnership, our IT, operations, the physical environment, and the commitment to excellence. Some of the opportunities that we've seen through that data collection is clarifying our school identity and that value proposition. So what is it that we do here at STEM, and what do we do well? Definitely looking at standards-based grading and standards-based learning and program alignment, the data and assessment, response to intervention, talent strategy, and staff retention. So when we do have staff turnover, how are we seeking out the best individuals to come join our team? Professional development pathways, resources, and minutes. Evaluation, retention, and promotion. Student recruitment, so bringing in new students and enrollment. And long-term and annual planning, so our strategic planning. Some of our highlights with our academics this past year. This is 2023 data, so our students just took our CMAS scores. This is from last year. We'll receive this year's scores in August. But based on our 2023 data, all grades exceeded state test scores in math and reading. That's the John Irwin Award that I spoke about earlier in the presentation. 2 out of 6 grade levels exceeded DCSD average test scores, and 3 out of 6 in reading exceeded DCSD test scores. We also looked at our pre-trauma, so when you think about all the things that our students have gone through, whether it was the tragedy on May 7th, then COVID, all the other secondary impacts that they had to their lives during that time, 4 out of 6 grade levels have now exceeded where they were in 2018. And 2 out of 6 in reading have exceeded their 2018 scores. Some of the other academic highlights include our PSAT 8 and 9, and then our PSAT 10 scores. They exceeded all state and district average test scores. In 2023, our SAT scores exceeded all state and district average scores. Another thing that we're happy to share and proud of our students is that we allow our students to take AP classes without having prior requirements. So we don't expect a certain GPA or that they have the prereqs for the class. If they have an interest in an AP course, we allow them to take those classes, which is not the case in other neighborhood schools and districts. So they have rules around who can take what classes, and they have to show the achievement prior to registering for those classes. We want our kids to get in there and do their best and try, for what their interests are. And we have a 70% pass rate. A lot of schools that have those prereqs have higher percent pass rates because those students have met those prereqs. And 98% of our 2023 graduates attended colleges, whether it be a 2 or 4-year college. Another quote shared by a high school senior was, "My favorite part about STEM is the student community. Everyone is driven, hardworking, and pushes each other to be the best version of themselves in all facets of life." A little bit about our school culture. This data was taken from our middle school and high school students so that they feel understood and respected by other students. Over on the 6 is strongly agree. 1 is strongly disagree. Our high school students, same question, that they feel understood and respected by and large by other students. We also asked our parents, in light of the changes or the struggles that our students and our staff and our community has endured, do they feel an improvement in their students' social and emotional needs that our school is supporting them? So the flip side, so on the left-hand side is strongly agree that STEM is working hard to meet those needs, and strongly disagree on the opposite side. This is also from our parent survey from last year. The school's racial and cultural diversity is recognized and openly discussed in a constructive way that includes staff and families. And actually we have students. So our DEI committee meets once a month, and so it's open door, anyone's invited, it's on our school calendar, but we include all of the voices here at STEM. We have a little video here.
STEM School Highlands Ranch has taught me not only about theoretical concepts that you would typically learn in class, but also a lot about myself as a learner, as someone who is a creative and always looking at ways to improve society for the better.
It really prepares you for as far as like work ethic and determination goes, and kind of where to invest your time resources. I think it's a good skill to develop before college.
Yeah, it's a great program. I definitely recommend it if you're wanting to get a head start on college and your future after high school.
I definitely say the community that STEM provides has been able to provide me with so many opportunities. Being able to grow up with a lot of the people you're surrounded by, the incredible staff that we have on board, everybody is really rooting for you at the end of the day, and I think that that's really been able for me to foster my love of different fields, but also really be able to curate a lot of my leadership skills I've learned from there.
I almost sometimes describe STEM as like a small town because, we have a smaller student population, so it's I feel like there'll be people I run into in the hallways that I've known for almost a decade now, and it's I just feel like, it's very interconnected and you can get to know a lot of people very well. I know there are certain students I've been friends with for a really long time that I really value the company of, and yeah, it's they're almost it feels like family sometimes because it's I just know this person for so long, and they've been part of so many different stages of my life that I can really form that bond, which I think has been cool. It's definitely been an interesting experience to have.
You never find yourself feeling bored. You never find yourself with repetitive content in front of you. You always have this opportunity to learn within the classroom or even outside of one. And STEM provided this new sense of flexibility and honestly just enjoyment, where I was almost going to school every single day to learn, to do something new, to gain more, and to really let my curiosity thrive. And I felt like STEM was a really safe place and welcoming place to be able to do that.
I mean, I can definitely say that what the students are remarking about the transition years. So being able to see some of my first kindergartners now heading into middle school next year, or my first fifth graders or 9th, 10th grade, that's always been, I've been in education for 20 years, so it's always been hard to say goodbye when they have left the schools that I've been to move on to the next. And it's so exciting and unbelievable to see them come in, yay tall, and they're as tall as I am just about right now, some of my kindergartners. So it's definitely exciting to get to know them, get to know the parents, and that community.
So I'll talk a little bit about finance. So I learned that we're ranked in the top 100 as far as our bond rating goes of all charter schools in America. So what that says is over the years, we've done a good job with basically taking care of our money, creating good investments and relationships with our bondholders. Our funding comes from like the state and our per pupil count, and enrollment ends up being our biggest factor in like managing our business. So based on the amount of students we have, how do we stay sustainable year over year with our recurring costs? The school has maintained in the green every year, even though we've gone down in enrollment. So that just shows again the good job managing our resources. There is a new proposal for funding in Colorado, which may impact the district by a negative of $26 million, so we're keeping our eye on that. The bond, 5B, it probably will go back on the ballot again, so it's twice been turned down by the voters, but if it does pass, our building just went to a certain age to where we're gonna get even more money from that passing as far as working on our facilities and our maintenance. So we're keeping an eye on that. But as the finances of the school, we are in a good place. We are watching enrollment, and like we've had those 4 years. We'll probably go down a little bit this year. We'll talk a little bit more, but we really are going to make that stop in this coming year and make the turn. So what are the next steps? So 5-year strategic plan. Our last one was written in 2019, so we're 5 years out from that. With new leadership and this vision for the school, we're writing a new strategic plan. And the strategic plan becomes like another boss, right? You have the mission, the vision, you have your values, but you have your board, but you also have like the strategic plan. We've all put this together. We know we're going in the next 5 years. We're putting resources and time to it. So on the 2nd, we're presenting a draft to the board. They'll discuss it on the 21st. We'll recirculate it and hope to have a final draft by October. Decided to put our current thinking in this conversation. So just want to put out there, this is not final. In fact, the board will look at it, like I said, on June 2nd. But we've already put a lot of work all the way back to October in figuring out where do we need to grow, what's working well, what do we need to improve on. And so we've identified 4 areas that we want to focus on in the next 3 to 5 years. But number 1 is just the experience of all of the people here in the building. So from the student experience, from the minute they walk out of the car to the minute they go home, what's their experience like? Is it matching what we're saying? Is it matching the things that we're believing about them? Are they doing that work that's inspiring them? Is it following our model? How's the grading going? Like really thinking through all of those things. Staff, the same thing. Teaching is a challenging career. You think about it, if you're teaching high school, middle school, you're dealing with over 100 kids a day. They all had different stories before they got to school. They're their own people. And so it's like, you're not only teaching content, but you're getting to know like 100 people in the middle school, like they're changing every single day. So just the amount of work and effort and care that goes into this profession, it's challenging. And same with like kindergarten. I could never teach kindergarten. Like I don't even know how they do it, keeping their attention. And so we want the experience of our staff to be top notch. There's not a better place to work than STEM School Highlands Ranch. And then our parent experience as well. We've had, and we'll talk more about this in a second, higher parent engagement in the past. We want to get our community rallied around the school and engaged in the school as best we can. Knowledge management.
Sorry.
That's right. So we've had great people here, great ideas, but maintaining that in one place where we can use it year over year is a key strategy for us to be the very best school we can be. Long-term planning. So we've been thinking about growth as a school, and we want to be the highest quality school. So how do we plan over 5 years? When I first got here, I was bombarded with, can we move this furniture here? Can we do this program? Can we do that? And can we do it in 2 weeks? And it was like, no, we got to stop. Let's actually plan for it for next year, and let's get the right amount of timing, resources in place. So we are doing that, and the team's been doing a great job making that adjustment in long-term planning. And then we're working with the board. If we do expand down the line, what does governance look like, and what does our roles look like in that kind of growth? And then finally, brand identity. I've been in the community since 2009, and I think I didn't fully understand all the great things and the great people that were going on in STEM. You kind of hear STEM and you just think a certain kind of robot science type kind of education, but it's the amount of I don't know, even just interactions the kids have here that are STEM plus is incredible. The opportunities they have for the size middle school, size high school is absolutely extraordinary. There's so many great stories. We want to get those out to the community and get the community connected. So those are priorities. Initiatives are in the priorities. How do we do that? These are already kind of in the works, and we just wanted to let you know our current thinking too, so you could be aware. But we are working really hard on standards-based grading. We are planning ahead. We are getting clear on who we are. We are looking at our curriculum because it is our secret sauce, and the teachers will be working over this summer for many summers, just continuing to write and refine, because writing curriculum is like a second job. So we want to pay them for that. Fundraising strategy. We haven't really had a strategy. There's a lot of different asks, a lot of great things going on. And then facility improvements. We just built a fantastic gym, but there's a lot of things from paint to RTU units to roofing that need attention as well. And then being 10 years old, looking at our equipment, especially our engineering equipment and our equipment in science. Do we have the up and coming equipment that's going to help our kids innovate?
So some of our immediate challenges that need to be addressed, we've made quite a bit of, we've spoken a bit about the standards-based grading and standards-based learning, but we recognize that perhaps standards-based grading has lessened the intrinsic motivation of students. So it doesn't provide them with an opportunity or a desire to do more because it's just on that the state standards. And then the accountability about turning in their assignments so they can take a test. They don't have to show all those demonstrations of knowledge. Take a test and hopefully they do really well, but if not, then going back to do the work. So it's kind of that backwards accountability, if you will. So we know that we need to figure out how to increase that. The ease of accessibility to grades. So for our students and our parents, they need to be able to open Canvas and be able to see exactly where their students are. Inconsistent feedback and grading practices. So how do we support our teachers better so that way they're all following very similar practices and our students know what to expect when they're going from class to class, and our parents know how they're being graded. And then that overall community support and satisfaction. Some of the things that we've done just more recently in the last semester is that, and this is predominantly a secondary struggle. Elementary seems to be happy with Mastery Connect, not concerned about standards-based grading. It's the middle school, high schoolers. I should have prefaced it with that. But some of the things we've done is we are doing a sandbox pilot Canvas extension group. So we have 5 teachers that have volunteered their time. 47 parents and 45 students participating. It's an extension that they downloaded where our teachers are putting the grades in essentially twice. So they're using the Mastery Tracker and then they're putting them in this extension. And the extension demonstrates and shows that percentage grade. So we're looking at that, and hopefully we'll be able to remove Mastery Tracker from our secondary students next year. That is our hope. Ironically enough, I shared this last night, we had students that have been frustrated with the Mastery Tracker at the secondary side, and they went to their English teacher of all teachers and they said, we think we've got this figured out. We think we figured Mastery Tracker out, that there is an extension you can download separate from Canvas. It's not related to the Canvas company. There's this extension that you can download, and they coded it a certain way, and they're like, look, this is how you find the percentage of your grade. So true to our form of being a PBL school, they're like, we'll figure this out, we'll code it. And Canvas, we've been asking for the last year and a half. We've known since we've rolled out SBL, we've asked Canvas for these things, and Canvas, a national company, said we're not there yet. Our computer techs and our engineers are not there yet with that system. Well, 3 of our students said, we'll figure it out, and sure enough, they did. So they will be meeting with Canvas and presenting how they created their own backdoor system to the percents here in the next couple of weeks. So funny enough, but true to form of a STEM student. We're still collecting feedback from our groups on better clarity and transparency in grades. So even if we remove Mastery Tracker from our secondary students, which it looks like that is what we will be doing, and then using the extension, we still want your feedback. Like that, it doesn't stop there. We realize that struggles occur and uncertainty, and maybe you're needing extra support. We're still here to support through this transition with SBL. We want to identify ways to provide students and parents with feedback on work habits, so that accountability, that timeliness, responsibility, collaboration. It currently doesn't exist, and we realize that for some students, if there is no accountability to their work habits, they're not going to show them, or they're not going to rise to that occasion, and not setting them up for future success as an adult. So we have worked with other high schools. We've reached out to other communities using SBL, and they do, at the high school level, hold a percentage of their grade does come from work habits. So that is one aspect or something that we are looking at, or creating an extra part of the Canvas report card that they would then put their scores for those work habits. So separate from the actual average. And then communicating rationale in terms of the grading system effectiveness in our school model. So just doing a better job of sending out the communications and explanations and continuing to meet with parents.
Before you jump to the next one, just want to point out, like, the standards-based grading, competency-based grading is not something STEM's like on an island doing all by itself. So when you look at Advanced Ed, they're an accrediting company that goes globally. They actually have a whole strand just for competency-based grading, because so many schools are doing it now. The whole state of Maine is doing it. Vail just adopted it. Westminster's been doing it. So it's been around, it's growing, more and more schools are going to do it. The issue and the questions we have is, well, will my kid be able to get into college because of this new grading system? And the answer is yes. You know, it still creates a GPA. The colleges don't really see it any differently. In fact, Harvard has adopted the Mastery Transcript Consortium, which doesn't even give a GPA. It's a portfolio of work that the kid turns in, and that's how they assess the kid when they bring him in. So there's that movement as well, this portfolio of here's what I've done and here's who I am, that colleges are looking at too. So I think we've all thought colleges would move a little faster, like even 30 years ago when I was getting into education. It's like, will SATs and ACTs still be the thing in 10 years? Well, they still are, but there has been thinking for the last 30 years of how do we get to know students outside of just a test score and their GPA, which is so GPAs were pretty relative per school. So I want you to let you know we're not alone. We are working with others. We do want to get it right. We want to have the right grading system for our model of education. So is this the right one, and where is it right and where is it wrong? But there's no excuse for not communicating. The point of standard-based grading is you should know on this standard my kid's hitting it or they're not hitting it. And that's helpful to a parent when you're trying to fill those gaps or push them in certain areas. And we realize that hasn't happened with the two systems that you have to go into, especially at the middle school and the high school level. So we're getting there, we'll get it right, and we're putting a lot of time and effort into it.
Some of this is all interconnected, but a lot of it is around our curriculum alignment. So when we talk about supporting our students and our teachers with their curriculum needs, we're not a textbook-driven school, so although we do use textbooks for supplementary instruction, a lot of our instruction comes from that backwards design and our PBL models, so that takes time. So we talk about needing time for professional development and planning. We have added 4 early release days next year in which our teachers will have an opportunity to work with their grade levels or departments on building out the curriculum from year to year. In years past, it's been that we build out those PBLs, those opportunities to work with our industry partners or bring in guest speakers, and it was housed with that teacher. So when that teacher left STEM, the next teacher that came in often had some of the resources to start on their journey, but oftentimes they were rebuilding year after year, which then impacts teacher retention and our students' overall experience. So the necessary time for professional development, giving them the extra paid summer opportunities to work on that is exciting for them. They realize it is something much needed, and we're finally going to have time to do it in the 24-25 school year. Another aspect around curriculum is ensuring that we have vertical alignment. So we know exactly what a second grader should be leaving second grade with, and the third grade teachers are aware of what should our students be coming to us with, and how am I going to meet our students where they are. So if there are gaps, I know where those gaps are, and I'm able to get right on it and support our students, and then offer those extensions for those students that are already working above that next grade level. And then another struggle at the secondary level, being smaller middle school, high school, is finding the common planning time for grade level. So we've worked really hard over the last couple years to create common planning at the secondary level, but common planning within departments. So our science department has common planning, our math department has common planning, and that allows more vertical alignment at the secondary side. But when you're talking about individual students through that RTI process that I mentioned earlier, it doesn't give them a time to get together as a group of sixth grade teachers, your science teacher, your English teacher, your math teacher, social studies specialist teachers, to say, hey, let's gather around and talk about this student and their needs and how we support them. So we don't have that built into our schedule just yet, but that is something we are constantly striving for. How do we give them both?
So you talked about enrollment. It's not just a STEM problem either. There's declining enrollment throughout the state, throughout the country. And when you look even in Douglas County, there's 15% less second graders than there are seniors. So you think about those moving out and those coming, there's just less babies kind of happening in Douglas County. And then with our decline, we're really looking at it closely. We're not going to let this be an excuse for us, though, because our model of education, we think, is very attractive to Douglas County, Littleton County. This is a group around us. Like, there's a lot of schools that are great schools, but they're more of the sit in a row, we're going to give you what to learn, you give us back what we gave you. And so I actually think with the business-minded people around here, parents who are innovative themselves, to put their kids in a school that matches their own way of thinking, their own type of work, we just got to get the word out and continue our quality, continue delivering on what we say we're going to deliver, and we're going to be fine. So our solution, though, is to get clear on who we are and what we do, to really execute, retain those teachers, to codify our curriculum, to make sure it's easier for a teacher to come in. So we do have that transition. I was just talking to a prospective couple of them, and one of the first questions is, do I have to write all the curriculum all year long? It's like, well, sometimes there's some things you do, but we're going to give you some of those things, but we want to give more of that to them, and then they can tailor it to themselves as they're here. And then we're going to work with a marketing company to really help us get the message out. So we have spent really very little in the last 12 years in marketing, but right now we're going to actually put some time and effort into getting that message out. Because you can have a great product, but if no one knows about it, right, the connection doesn't happen. So, and then what I've learned about charter schools is the power of the charter schools in the community, connection. The more parents are connected, the more businesses are connected and really bought in, we have a lot more just power in the community. We're stronger together. And think of that, power is a good word. It's like we're strong. So we want to grow that, and we're hiring a person who can help with the admissions process, but also be a person to help with community engagement. And as parents volunteer, this can be a person that you go to check in, get to know, and that liaison between parents and school. We are looking, as far as some of my job was to think about growth and really looking at a strategy with the board as we refine who we are. Let's get this current campus as great as we can get it first. And part of that looks at, there's some programs we can add to help our enrollment and to help our quality, and one is a preschool. When you come as a parent of a 3 and a 4-year-old, you get to know other parents, you create friendships, and you want to stay, right? And so we're looking at starting a preschool. The other is summer programs. We have a few, but not many. And you think about camps, parents love to sign their kid up for a STEM camp. Well, they could come here. We don't have all that many. We could do a lot more and really be known as a premier place to go for summer camps. And when you walk in, you're like, oh, this place is kind of nice, and you kind of build those connections, meet some of our teachers. It's a good entry point into our school. And then homeschool, since COVID, has been on the rise, and there's not a homeschool program that is focused on STEM and problem-based learning right around here. There are a few like Wings of the Rockies or some aviation things, but a lot of them are more the core knowledge focus. And so having that homeschool program for homeschool parents, it's separate from our school. So we're not stealing teachers, we're not stealing dollars, it's separately funded. We would have a separate, maybe even location or building for those students. But again, it's connecting more and more people to what we're doing here on campus. So parent engagement, we want parents to be involved. To get to the successes we're talking about with students, it's a partnership. So it's what are we doing at school? What are you doing at home? How can we partner together in our goal to really get our students to thrive, lead, and succeed? And so I talked about the hire that we're going to make. We also have had some hassles this year around just getting your background checks done with the Raptor system. So we want to make sure that system is smoother to make it easier to volunteer. We want to work to get the opportunities out there so it's really easy to see. So even on our website development, you'll see that being updated. We're looking at a parent portal that'll just be easy to go and get all the resources you need to volunteer. And then I'm going to end with the last slide here. There's one more about how to get involved, so we'll kind of tee that up next. But we can do this now. So as we're talking about parent engagement, I probably should have put this slide before it, but we're going to get clear on our opportunities to come into the school, to interact with our teachers, our business department, to volunteer. But there's also committee work to be done. The advancement committee is going to really oversee the fundraising efforts, which I'll talk about in a second. Lenan's talked about our SAC committee.
Sorry.
And then we have every year the board member positions for parents and community members come up. And so SAC is a great place to start if you're curious, like would I like to be a board member or not? SAC is a mini governance board that helps us with our improvement plan every year or 2 years, depends on when it's due. So think about that. If you care a lot about STEM, those are great places to volunteer. You could also coach and mentor or be a part of a club, an advisor, or maybe your business could get connected to the school. And then word of mouth is huge. Just if you're having a good experience, let people know about it. Going back to our last challenge is fundraising. We haven't had a strategy around fundraising. Can you flip back one? Thank you. Awesome. So we're putting a coordinated effort together and developing 3 pillars of fundraising. So academics, which would really be through PTO, which has been a strong group for us traditionally. A new group would be our athletics boosters, which is going to be launched on May 15th. It had a mini launch this year, but we really wanted to coordinate it with our strategy plan. There's a athletic end of year celebration happening on the 15th, where we're going to talk more about boosters. And then enrichment and our trips, that's another vein of fundraising. The advancement committee will kind of oversee subcommittees. We already got a golf tournament that we're just got lined up for the athletics in September. But a big part of it is going to businesses, community members, sitting down one-on-one and taking the resources we're developing and saying, here's what the school's dreaming of in its growth. You'll see an annual fund campaign that starts in August. We've done a lot of dreaming. I've told all of our leaders, dream of the best program. What can STEM be? Well, we don't have the budget for it right now to do all those things, but it doesn't mean we can't do those things. We can actually go fundraise for them. So as fast as those dollars come in, we can put those right to work. So you're going to see what the initiatives are. The money comes in, we're going to spend the money on those. We'll thank the community for the money and report back on how the money's being spent. So look for that in August. This is kind of our rollout of our fundraising strategy. With that, we're kind of wrapped up. And if you have questions, I'll be here. Lenan will be here to answer any individual questions. It's an honor to be here. I've been in the community since '09. And since I've been here, I've just been privileged to work with a great leadership team, the teachers. I want to say a couple things about the teachers, because our teachers here care a lot about your kids. I haven't seen any school where they dress up over Christmas for 20 days in a row. Now, a lot of teachers like a pain in the butt to dress up in a theme, but our teachers, they love it. They do it. They played a trick on the kids on April 1st where they dressed up like them. They changed the bell schedule. Those are just a few things, but like they're coming to our games. This is a great place. In all the years of 25 years I've been in education, this group is really like connected and involved. Finally, if you're having an experience that's causing you to lose sleep at night, don't. Like, we're here to listen. We're here to try to make things better, kind of follow that communications pathway. And that's why we get up every morning. That's why we're here, is to make sure your kids have a great learning experience. And I would say follow your kids' spirit. So if you start to see that change, and it's changing over time, then maybe it's time to make a phone call or get involved. But finally, we can't solve all the problems for our kids either. There's a culture right now where if my kid hurts just a little bit, then I have to come in and go fix it for them. But we're finding a lot of research around kids have agency. In 2 weeks, situations change. They need you as a parent, a guide, a coach to come alongside and say, sweetie, this is hard. I'm here. I'm an open door, open table, open food. Like, we can go on a walk. I am available to hear and listen to anything you have to say, and I'll help walk you through it. So it's kind of that balance of like, how do we teach them that resiliency to go through problems, and that in suffering in life, that's where we grow, right? If we're all comfort and ease all the time, you don't get that growth. You think about your own life, right? Like those moments of pain and suffering, that's where we grow. But I'm huge on when my kids' spirit begins to change. They're not wanting to go to school. It's not a 2-week solution. Then you get involved. We're here to help. We want to help. We actually want to partner with you. So it's what we do, and we care a lot about it. So hopefully you hear those messages that we're here for you. I'm glad you guys came today. Thank you very much.